Well, hello everyone and happy Friday. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, the live stream where I talk about some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast, wherever you're watching this Friday afternoon, whether it is on YouTube, Facebook, or the 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Friday afternoon here. Now, we need to start things off now. We have quite a bit to jump into, so I think it is about time we start things off. And starting things off in Huntsville, where police are investigating a fatal shooting that happened last night on Oakdale Terrace. Now, police say officers responded to the call around 10 o'clock last night. Upon arrival, they say they found a man who had been shot to death. That victim has not been identified at this time, but we will continue to update you all as soon as we learn more. And 48's Callie Neese is working to learn more details on this incident coming up in our evening newscast, so make sure to stick around for that. But heading over to Triana, where a man was charged with capital murder in connection to an October shooting within city limits. According to court documents, Martarius Jamal Williams, who you're seeing on screen, fired a gun from a 2005 Chevy Silverado, killing Trayvon Harris on October 21st, 2024. The Madison County Sheriff's Office says the incident happened around 8:10 p.m. on Murphy Lane. Deputies in Huntsville police responded to a reported shooting. When authorities arrived, they found Harris, who was 37, with a gunshot to the abs. Now, officials say Harris was taken to the hospital, but later died from his injuries. Very sad situation there. But now let's take a look at what we're seeing on the weather radar heading into the weekend and early next week. 48 First Alert meteorologist Chelsea Aaron with everything you need to know. Chelsea?
Well, good afternoon, AJ. It's been another beautiful day across the Tennessee Valley, but heads up, big changes headed your way later on this evening and into the upcoming weekend. Enjoy the nice weather while it's here. It definitely will not be lasting for long. Live look across Huntsville, where we are still seeing plenty doses of sunshine. Cloud cover will start to increase from the south and west later on this evening, and temperatures will stay relatively mild. We're sitting in the upper 50s and lower 60s, and winds are breezy out of the south. Note occasional gusts as high as 20 miles per hour will be possible overnight and into Saturday ahead of our next cold front. Rain chances are likely going to increase west to east after 9 o'clock this evening. No severe weather in the forecast, but I would prepare maybe for some isolated rumbles of thunder and moderate to heavy pockets of rainfall. Rain will start to exit to the east likely by Saturday afternoon, and once the rain ends, temperatures will turn much colder through the rest of your weekend. We could see a few flurries flying around early Sunday, but little to no impacts are expected. The bigger impacts will be the dangerously cold temperatures coming for next week.
Well, thank you, Chelsea. Certainly something to keep an eye on, that is for sure. But now, in Fort Payne, two are facing multiple charges after authorities made a traffic stop last night. Fort Payne police say investigators made the traffic stop along Deer Drive Northeast. Authorities say inside the vehicle was 43-year-old Ronald Ernest Pick Jr. Now, Pick, who had outstanding warrants for both rape and possession of marijuana, was additionally charged with 3 counts of possession of a controlled substance, 2 counts of obstructing justice, using false identity, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Pick's charges come after Fort Payne investigators searched the vehicle, and during the traffic stop, police said a search warrant was also obtained for a residence on County Road 1006. At the residence, authorities arrested the homeowner, 43-year-old Lisa Diane Goldman. Goldman was charged with possession of a controlled substance, hindering prosecution, obstructing government operations, possession of drug paraphernalia, and tampering with physical evidence. Authorities say both Pick and Goldman will be taken to the DeKalb County Detention Center, where they will await bond. But, well, last night, let me turn it over this way. More details emerged last night regarding a missing realtor from Huntsville. Ronald DeMaw Jr. was reported missing on December 17th and was last heard by his family on December 15th. He was placed on the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency's missing persons list as a missing adult on December 23rd. 48's Nick Ballinger with those new details. Nick?
After a month of few developments in the search for a 37-year-old father of three, Thursday came with new information from Huntsville police on Ronald DeMaw's last known movements. Investigators say they discovered security camera footage of DeMaw at a Huntsville liquor store along University Drive on December 15th. That's the last day his family heard from him. The video shows him with two women, and police say he did not appear to be in distress. His car was found on a Tennessee interstate the next day, nearly 200 miles from Huntsville on Interstate 40. I spoke to Benton County, Tennessee Sheriff Kenneth Christopher by phone. He was on the scene that night and told me DeMaw's car was found hanging halfway in the road.
And was in the median area up against a concrete barrier, and Tennessee Highway Patrol located it and had to have it removed because it was a safety hazard.
The car was impounded and has been searched 3 times by different law enforcement agencies in Tennessee and Alabama. Police say no evidence was found to suggest he was forced out of the car. Meantime, Huntsville investigators have since brought in the FBI. New FBI analysis shows his cell phone was last tracked 5 days after his car was found on December 21st, heading south of Memphis. Sheriff Christopher says they are willing to help if any information comes their way.
If we get any updates where we can assist in any way, I mean, we definitely want to locate the man and find out what's going on.
Well, thank you, Nick. And following up on an officer-involved shooting in the Shoals, 48's Aria Pons is in Florence with the latest on the situation.
The Lauderdale County Sheriff's Office is taking over the investigation into a Florence officer-involved shooting that left Jackson Jones dead. A shooting that happened in Florence PD's own backyard.
I think it caught everyone by surprise that it happened at the police department parking lot.
The sheriff says it all started with a 911 call from Jones saying that he was sitting in the parking lot and was ready to shoot up the place. He says Jones got out of his truck and started shooting once he saw the officers. One officer returned fire and struck Jones, killing him.
We are still in the process of reviewing the body cam, reviewing the surveillance footage, and interviewing the officers that were involved.
That officer is on paid administrative leave at this time. Sheriff Hamilton says this is a tragedy for Jones's family, the officers involved, and the community.
Yeah, well, no officer wants to be involved in something like that. You know, that they didn't come to work planning on being involved in something like that. So it's tough on everyone involved.
As for Jones's family, one member says they are still very much in shock. His mother-in-law told me he was a good man and a good father, but that he just couldn't fight his demons anymore. I
don't think anybody knows right now exactly why he did this. So hopefully as we go through the investigation, examine the cell phone, go through the vehicle, we'll get some answers to that.
Like Sheriff Hamilton says, they don't know exactly why Jones did what he did in the first place, but he says they will continue to investigate until they can put all of those pieces together. As we continue to learn more, we will keep you updated. Reporting in Florence, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Well, moving over to South Huntsville, where some residents are voicing their concerns regarding a drug rehab facility opening up near one South Huntsville neighborhood. 48's Noah Cowell spoke with some residents, and take a listen to what they had to say.
To say this neighborhood is concerned about this development is an understatement. Residents throughout Huntsville Hills were completely caught off guard. They didn't find out until last night that this house would be converted to a drug rehab center. The former owners didn't even know until then either. Many parents are worried for the safety of their kids and the nearby community if some of these former addicts relapse. Their neighborhood is less than a mile away from a local park and the South Huntsville Public Library. They say they have no problem with drug rehab, but it doesn't belong near family homes.
Most of us around here have small children, you know, middle school age or younger and older, and they all ride their bikes down through here. My concern is just the safety for the kids and everybody else, theft, anything.
Some of them have questioned whether the organization is allowed to have a business in their neighborhood or if they even received the proper permits.
This wasn't done in the proper channels. It's a house, but they're running a business is what they're doing. It is a business, it is nonprofit, and you're supposed to have a special use permit, which is a public notice in the paper. We're supposed to be alerted to these things.
Huntsville Zoning Administration left a note on their doorstep earlier today saying that the owners need to go through them if they want to be able to prove it and begin to operate their drug rehab center. I reached out to many of the city commissioners earlier today, as well as the Life or Death Recovery Services organization that is involved with this house, and haven't heard back from either side yet. Reporting in Huntsville, Noah Cowell, 48 News, on your side.
And Noah Cowell will be continuing his coverage on the new facility coming up in our evening newscast. But now, coming up after the break, we'll talk about a huge new development coming to one Marshall County city that's got a lot of people excited, that is for sure. The Supreme Court and the TikTok ban, and of course, some fun and interesting things you can do this weekend for free. It's all ahead. I'll see you all in 1 minute. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Before the Four. Major changes are coming to the city of Albertville. That's right, a new planned development with about 250,000 square feet of restaurant and retail space is in the works. 48's Callie Neese tells us all about what's coming to the city, and check it out.
This is where city leaders tell me the almost 250,000 square foot retail and restaurant space is planned to be built. City leaders tell me they are planning on redeveloping this 33-acre lot into the Sand Mountain Marketplace, a space for several potential well-known businesses. Now, not everything is set in stone just yet, but leaders from the city of Albertville tell me that big names like Target, Jim and Nick's Barbecue, and Outback Steakhouse are in talks with the developer, Atlanta-based Willow Capital. City leaders tell me the plan right now is to make a formal announcement in the spring of what businesses will be going into this new development. They also say Willow Capital is working on getting some final approvals before they start building. This development isn't the only new thing coming to town. A Longhorn Steakhouse has already broken ground. Leaders tell me a new hotel is coming to town, as well as an entertainment center that will include a bowling alley. Reporting in Albertville, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
Exciting stuff, that is for sure. Thank you, Callie. But now, after financial struggles during the pandemic, YMCAs across the Tennessee Valley have made quite a bit of a rebound. Leaders with the YMCA of the Shoals say their total membership dropped by a third during the pandemic. More people are using their facilities compared to 2020 and 2021, however. The YMCA of the Shoals lost about 1,500 members during the pandemic. This led to a loss of hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. But 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy today spoke with YMCA of the Shoals CEO, Lane Vines, who says during the pandemic they continued to work on that project in hopes that it would be able to help people once the pandemic ended. And take a listen.
It was something that most of our YMCAs in the state of Alabama did, was pivot while we were closed as a non-essential business. But it was tough just not knowing, really how other businesses were doing, how other YMCAs were doing, and hoping we were making the best decisions at the time.
And in the past year, the YMCA of the Shoals saw an 8% member increase. They are now serving over 9,000 members. But well, yesterday we talked about that fierce Scottsboro Wildcats girls basketball team. Now let's take a look at Hazel Green, who are also looking to make a run for that highly coveted blue map. 48 sports anchor Cam Durr on the Hazel Green Trojans as they prepare for the postseason. Take a look.
Don't want to let down any past generations or anyone, but definitely just Winning this year would be special because of all the adversity we did face.
When you think of Hazel Green girls basketball, adversity might not be a word that comes to mind. But this season, the 8-time state champions have had their fair share. With an overall record of 19-7, the Trojans have fallen in more games than the last 4 seasons combined. But it's not something that head coach Tim Miller is worried about.
It's been our toughest schedule since I've probably been a head coach. It's been a challenging year, but it's been a growing year. You know, I like where we're at right now. I think the kids have learned a lot, and they're battle tested. You want to put your girls through anything you put them through to get ready for the playoffs. No matter what the record is, when it comes to playoff, everybody's 0-0.
The Trojans have faced the #1 teams in Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina, as well as top competition here in the state, all in preparation for the road to Birmingham.
Every single game we played has tested us and prepared us for playoffs. So every game, every last possession that we failed to, every game we came up short, it teaches us and it pushes us to work harder, and it prepares us for those tough times in playoffs in state.
And the schedule doesn't get any easier from here on out. Hazel Green has 2 late edition games as they will face Scottsboro and travel for a big test at Spring Garden next week. Reporting in Hazel Green, Cam Durr, 48 Sports, on your side.
Exciting stuff, that is for sure. Thank you, Cam. And now a national story we've been following this week. The Supreme Court could weigh in on the ban of TikTok that's set to take effect Sunday if the popular app isn't sold. But ahead of that decision, the Biden administration is now prepared to take its own steps to keep TikTok running, even if the ban is upheld. NBC's Savannah Sellers joins us now with the latest.
With just 2 days before the ban on TikTok is set to take effect, the wildly popular platform is finding a temporary lifeline from President Biden in a major reversal as he prepares to leave office.
The fight isn't over. It's just going to be extended.
Two administration officials tell NBC News the outgoing White House will not enforce the hundreds of billions of dollars of potential fines against companies that host TikTok, essentially pausing the ban from taking effect Sunday.
Things are starting to look really good for TikTok.
Congress passed the law last spring with overwhelming bipartisan support. It required TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, to sell the app to an American company, something it's given no indications it has plans to do. This is all over national security concerns. The Chinese government could steal the user data or manipulate the content shown to Americans. TikTok denies this.
Nothing has changed. The national security concerns remain exactly the same.
Then why do you think the Biden administration is taking the step to say we're not going to implement this?
The Biden administration has 1 day left. They certainly don't want to take the political heat for shutting down a popular app. This is going to go over to the Trump team.
President-elect Trump, who tried and failed to ban TikTok in his first term, now supports saving it, with his incoming national security advisor confirming they have plans to intervene.
We're going to find a way to preserve it, but protect people's data, and that's the deal that'll be in front of us.
This latest effort to keep TikTok from going dark to its 170 million American users comes as the company's CEO, Shou Chew, is expected to attend the inauguration ceremony on Monday, sitting on the platform alongside other tech executives, including Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, if you're looking for a way to get involved with the community here in Huntsville for a great cause and help keep the city beautiful, the Huntsville Green Team is holding a community cleanup in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I spoke with Nikki Southers with the Green Team the other day as she provided lots of details on what to expect at tomorrow morning's event, which will now take place at Campus 805 starting at 9. Take a listen. Examples of things that you might be picking up during the event.
So, and that event is from 9 to 11, the MLK Day. So it really is the morning. If you're interested in picking up supplies for Monday, you want to do something and extend it in your neighborhood, that's fine. A lot of what we see, what happens on the road, sometimes it blows out of trucks or vehicles. It's not necessarily that everybody's throwing something on the ground, but it ends up in ditches and on the edges of the roads. And so what we want to do is keep it out of our waterway. So it's anything as small as a cigarette butt to a bottle cap to a piece of paper that fell out. It's just a little bit of everything, but it really makes a difference. We can all have a beautiful planting and landscape, but if it's dirtied up with litter, And that's what you're going to see. That's your first impression. Having neighborhoods that are cleaner, it really keeps people top of mind not to throw things out their window when they see that they're already in a clean neighborhood. Also, there's some science to that.
Very awesome. And another cool thing, of course, going on tomorrow in Decatur, the annual Festival of the Cranes, which of course was originally scheduled for last weekend, but due to the winter weather was moved to this weekend. I spoke with Daphne Molden. She's a park ranger at Wheeler Wildlife Refuge, and take a listen to some fun things you can do this weekend in Decatur. Talk about a bit about the city of Decatur. What makes it such a great place to hold this bird watching festival?
So in the early years of the festival, many of the activities were held here at the Visitor Center. But the festival outgrew our facility. And please, you want to visit the refuge, see the cranes when you are here, but don't forget downtown, because the resources they have available at the Princess Theater, at the Alabama Center for the Arts, Decatur Public Library, Cook's Museum of Natural History, the Carnegie Visual Arts Center. All of those areas are hosting numerous presentations that is part of the Festival of the Cranes. And so there's plays that are highlighting Rachel Carson, presentations on birds of prey, information on caves and bats. International Crane Foundation is doing presentations. Christopher Joe, there's going to be art. There's tons of things within walking distance of each other in downtown Decatur that is part of the festival.
Certainly sounds like an incredible event going on this weekend in Decatur. That is for sure. So as she mentioned, as Daphne just mentioned, a lot of different things you can do in Decatur. It doesn't have to just be the Wheeler Wildlife Refuge as well, but you're definitely going to want to check that out, and it is completely free of charge. So you got to love that. That is for sure. I certainly do. But you can find more details on the Festival of the Cranes on our website right now. Just go to WAFF.com. You'll go to digital shows, and then finally 48 now, but awesome event there. Now let's head into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. 2 words, kitchen cops. Get all the latest scores on restaurants all across the valley this week. The cops uncovered this week some fuzzy peppers and dishwasher pests, so make sure to stick around for the details on that. Another story you're just not going to want to miss, Franklin County swearing in a new judge. Get those details. And finally, following up on a dispute between 2 neighbors in the Shoals that led to shots being fired. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And it is just about that time. That is right. It is, of course, time for Facebook Fun. Our 48 Facebook question of the day. What fast food restaurant has the best fries? And that is such a hard question because there's really not a lot of fries at fast food restaurants I don't like. I do think there are some that are better than others, but I pretty much like them all. But what I want to know is what you all had to say. Let's see. Patricia White. She said she is the odd person out because she says Burger King. I don't think that makes you the odd person out at all, Patricia. I honestly think Burger King has some killer fries. And, of course, you got to get that Whopper on the side of your fries because it is just so delicious. I definitely think Burger King has one of the better burgers in the entire fast food industry. That flame cooked or that flame grilled burger, just can't beat it. It's just so good. Oh my goodness, I love Burger King. Patricia, thank you so much for commenting. And I don't know if it's my favorite, but it is definitely up there. So you are not the odd person out at all. Thank you for commenting. Tim said no contest, it's Checkers. We need one in Athens. And I haven't had Checkers in a very long time, but I do remember having their fries once and being blown away by them. I remember they were delicious, that is for sure. Tim, thank you so much for commenting, and hopefully they will get a Checkers in Athens soon. Yeah, I would be excited to see that. That is for sure. Chad said Five Guys, a very popular comment. A lot of people commented Five Guys today. Very good potato fries they are. That is for sure. And don't forget the burgers. Those are amazing. The peanuts that you can get there are delicious as well. Definitely Five Guys, 10 out of 10, without a doubt. Chad, thank you for commenting. Lisa said McDonald's if they're hot and fresh. That's the key. They got to be hot and fresh, but nothing's better than a hot and fresh large McDonald's fry. That is for sure. Lisa, definitely agree with you on that one. And then finally, Bill Cooper. He said, nobody can fries better than me. End of story. And with that, I think it is, it's the end of the story. Thank you to whoever commented on today's Facebook question of the day. I definitely had a great time reading all those comments. Well, that is it for today's Before the Four, but I want to thank you all for sticking around and spending a bit of your Friday afternoon here. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Maybe you're going to the Festival of the Cranes. Maybe you're going to the community cleanup. Whatever you do this weekend, have a great time. Have a good time doing it and enjoy tonight's newscast. And as always, thank you for watching. You all have a good night.